Okay, guys, I know we did lesson 5, part 1 on Thursday, but today we're actually going to start in on lesson 7, part 1, and I has to do with the fact that some of you have workshop today, Friday, and some of you don't. So what we are going to do is just talk about the coordinate plane in 4 quadrants. So we did a little work on the coordinate plane in 1 quadrant before winter vacation. And so today what we're going to learn is what to do when there are 4 quadrants, and we'll see what those look like. And then for the rest of your time, you're going to play a really awesome computer game. Oops, I just fell. And if you don't know what a quadrant is, don't worry. We're going to learn what a quadrant is next week. But first we're going to identify relevant parts of the coordinate plane using your book, and I'll pull up the online book if you don't have yours with you. Okay, so we're going to label this coordinate plane, and we're going to graph 2 points, okay? So first, let's use our stylus to say that this is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. We are going to choose a scale of 1. That's 1, right? This point here is 0, 2, 3, 4, right? As the numbers get bigger, we move to the right, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As the numbers get bigger, we move up, okay? Now we need to graph the point 2, 3. We always graph x comma y. It says this a little later on the page. That means we start at the origin. That's the spot here, origin, 0. And we move x to the right 2, 1, 2. And then y is up 3, 1, 2, 3, okay? Then we label the point 2, 3, or if we have a letter, we can label it with the letter. Check. Okay, now let's change colors. Now 0, 7 is tricky. The reason 0, 7 is tricky is because we move to the right 0 spaces. So we stay right here on the y-axis, okay? So now we go up 7 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, okay? And in general, my expectation is that you guys are vaguely comfortable with this from the previous unit. Okay, so we're going to scroll, okay? The x coordinate, as I said before, it tells us to go right, or in 4 quadrant graphing, it tells us to go left. The y coordinate tells us to go up, or in 4 quadrant graphing, it can also tell us to go down. Okay, and so it's really important to graph with the x first and the y second, because otherwise we could confuse 4, 2 with 2, 4, and those are different spaces, right? If we did take gray, 4 out and 2 up, we would be here, right? That's 4, 2. But if we did 2 out and 4 up, we would be here, right? And we need the same set of directions. An order pair, right, is a set of directions. We need the same set of directions to always take us to the same place. That's a big idea in math. Okay, so now we're going to look at the coordinate plane in 4 quadrants, and it's in your book on page 177. So this is the book. Okay, so let's read this paragraph. A coordinate plane is a plane formed by a horizontal number line called the x-axis that intersects a vertical number line called the y-axis, okay? The coordinate plane is this guy, okay? That's the coordinate plane. Okay, the axes intersect at 0 on both number lines, and the point is called the origin. So let's just type up some answers here, okay? What is the coordinate plane? Right? I would, this is not probably the best math word, but I would call it the grid we get when the x-axis and the y-axis intersect. The other thing that you absolutely can do when you're doing a definition is, if you're sort of struggling to come up with a definition, you can also always draw for yourself a little picture, right? What's the coordinate plane? This is the coordinate plane. This is what it looks like, that kind of thing, right? So you could go scroll down here and write coordinate plane, right? And then you have sort of taken notes for yourself that will help you try to figure out what a coordinate plane is, but you don't have to write it out in words. Okay, so now what is the x-axis? Highlight it below. So I'm going to start by highlighting the x-axis. Oops, that was my wrong order of operation. This is the x-axis, okay? The x-axis is just a horizontal number line, right? It's the horizontal number line in the coordinate plane, okay? It tells us how far out, left or right, things are, okay? So you may have heard that phrase before, okay? Now the y-axis, that is the vertical number line in the coordinate plane. Actually, let's make this green so we can tell the difference. That's going to be very clever for us. So we highlighted the horizontal number line, the x-axis, in green. So this is going to be nice and color coordinated for us. Now we're going to change this and highlight them both in the same color, okay? So the y-axis is the vertical number line. It tells us how far up and out things are. Oh, and now I've made that blue. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to highlight the y-axis in blue so that when I look at my page and I see the two colors match, I'll know that they go together, okay? And I can also label it with a pen if I want, but I've got the x-axis highlighted in blue and the the x-axis highlighted in green and the definition in green, and the y-axis highlighted in blue and the definition in blue. Okay, and it's just a vertical number line in the coordinate plane. Okay, that's all it is. It looks a little different, but basically we just took two number lines, both of which we've seen before, and laid them on top of each other. Okay, the origin is the spot at 0, 0. We always write them in parentheses with a comma in the middle. We'll talk about that in a second. Where the two axes meet. Okay, so the origin is just a special point on our number line. Okay, and I'm going to highlight that in pink, and we'll put a nice pink dot there. Not that you can see it, but the idea is that that we use our tools to make sure that we really understand what we're writing down, so that when we go back and look at our notes, they make sense to us. Okay. Now, an ordered pair, we have to read the next paragraph. An ordered pair is a pair of numbers, such as 3, 2, right? See how that's in parentheses with a comma between the x and the y? That can be used to locate a point on the coordinate plane. The first number is the x coordinate. It tells you to move left or right. The second number is the y coordinate. It tells you to move up or down from the origin, okay? And then it tells us the ordered pair for the origin. All of this is on 177 in your book. There's also those cards at the beginning of the chapter that may have some of these, but not all of these, on page, I think it was 138. Okay, so you have all those references in case you need them. And what we're going to just do is type an ordered pair. An ordered pair is written in the form x comma y, with those parentheses, such as, and let's give an example, -1, 5. Ooh, a negative number. Okay, so an ordered pair is written in the form x comma y. It tells us where a point is graphed. It's basically like an address. Okay, so let me graph -1, 5 for us. So previously, when we saw 1, we went to the right. If we see -1, we go to the left. And you should be somewhat familiar with that because we did do some negative number graphing earlier in the unit. So we go back 1. Now the y coordinate is +5, right? +5 means up 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the only difference here is instead of having 2 positive coordinates, we have a negative coordinate and a positive coordinate. Okay? So a negative x takes us back. Now graph point P at 2, -3. Oops. So again, we have one positive, and one negative. Okay, so first we're going to graph point P. So we start at the origin. I'm going to make this red. We start at the origin and we go out 1, 2. Okay, and then we have a negative 3. So instead of going up 3, we go down 1, 2, 3. Then we write a P next to it. And we don't need to write the numbers because we labeled it with a letter. And we graph a y coordinate of 3. Let's type this up. A negative y coordinate means we go down from the origin. Okay. Now, let's graph point Q at negative 2, 4. How do we graph an x coordinate of negative 2? Okay, so let's start. We're going to need a little more space for this. We're going to start at the origin. Let's change the color. Oops, 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 oops. Let's change the color to, let's change the color to green. So we go negative 2. Instead of going forward 2, we go back or to the left 2, 1, 2, and then we go up 4 because our y coordinate is positive. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's point Q. Okay, check. And how do we graph a y coordinate, an x coordinate of negative 2? So let's make our text a different color, and let's type negative x coordinate means we go left from the origin. Okay. So now is the fun part. You're going to practice identifying coordinates. You're going to click on this link, okay, that will be on Classroom, and we're going to take you there. We're going to play a game called Locate the Aliens, okay? And so you have to type in the coordinates. So this one actually starts with a hard one because I already did 2. Let me see if I can reload it so we go back to 0, because it's going to start you if, it will start you with positive coordinates, right? So this one is 7 across and 5 up. Okay. We hit enter, and I found an alien. Now the sky is already in a double negative situation. Okay, it's back 9 and down 8. So I'm going to type in negative 9, comma, negative 8. Okay, and I'm going to hit enter. See, and I have 63 seconds left. So I'd like you guys to play this game so that you can practice finding the aliens and working with coordinates until everyone is done the CML, and then life will be fun. Okay, have a great day.